G'day, hope you're well. Welcome back. So I'll just sort of do a quick one, given there was a fair bit of interest and a lot of you guys have been following on with the rice from sort of planting to harvest and that sort of thing. Thought I'd just do a quick run through of costs and just so you get a bit of an idea of costs and I suppose at the end of the day whether we made any money out of it. So we've got a program which I have spoken about before called Ag World, and it gives us a gross margin. So essentially we put in all our operations costs, so chemical fertiliser, operational costs, and then it basically adds it up, and then you can put in an estimation of your yield and scenarios, and then at the end, basically harvest time, you can enter tonnes harvested and your price, and it spits out a fancy one at the end. So I'm going to use the door of the fridge. I'll write it on here, so that'll be easier. I've got it here in my book, so shout out to Mansfield Hunting and Fishing for being the door sponsor. So basically we've got our seed. So our seed costs are bought through Sunrise. So we've got a $92 a hectare. These are all per hectare prices. So I've got $92 a hectare in seed, our fert, so our starter fertiliser, and then our urea and nitrogen. It was, what do we got there, $383. Then we've got the chemical. Excuse my writing, I probably wouldn't make a teacher. What do we got? We've got 502. The water, so the water's probably the kicker. So we're working on a $60 a megalitre price for water. We used about 11 megalitres per hectare. Some of that figure's a bit furry, but not furry, fuzzy, only because generally we'd water the rice and then water the corn, and some of that water, and both with the corn water numbers, some of that water that went on the corn was actually rice water. And vice versa, and then we had the runoff off the corn. We were quite often putting it back on the rice, and then at the end when we drained the rice, we put that water through the irrigators onto pasture and our winter cropping country. So we reckon we're about that 11 megs, which is really efficient. So it's $60. We're 660. What else have we got here? So operations. So that's, sowing, spraying, the plane, and I think that we'll have freight in it as well. So our freight, we were $17 a tonne for freight. So I'm that will have the freight in it as well. So what do we got there? We've got $597. So we had an operations cost because obviously the plane and that sort of stuff, but you've got maintenance and that sort of thing and depreciation and that, but we are still paying for gear. We don't own all our gear, so we don't put a full contract price in that operational cost, but we do put probably half the full contract price, because we're paying repayments and that sort of stuff on gear, big tractor, the header, that sort of thing. So you've got to allow for that. It's more a fixed cost rather than, it's not a variable cost, it's a fixed cost, but we still do add that into when we're doing budgets and that sort of stuff, because you've got it, because it's costing us money. So, and obviously it's a tricky one it's easier with the winter crop because it's over a bigger area, but it's a bit trickier with the summer crop. But we still do have that operational cost, so it's sort of trying to give you a more accurate gross margin. So that gives us a grand total, round figures, of about 2,200 a hectare. So just to give you a comparison, our winter cropping is around that, anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a hectare. But what you'll see now is, so we average 13.1 tonne. And that, now the indicative price at the moment is $360 a tonne. So Sunrise run a pool system, and what that sort of means is that price, that's the base price. So that 360 is the base price, but that, as they sell the crop and that sort of stuff, demand, that price could go up, and it generally does. Like, they'll pay you the minimum, and then you generally get a bonus as we get periodic payments. So you can choose how you get paid. So the default is 60% of your total tonnes up front, or 75 or 90 are sort of the options, and then they can pay in different months as well. So we chose the 75% up front, which is paid in 5 days after delivery, and then we'll have a payment in September, one in April next year, and then the final payment in June next year. So when you're in the rice system, you've generally got, if you're growing consistent crops, you've got money coming in quarterly, which is, it's quite good for cash flow. So, yeah, that 13.1 tonne, so that comes out at, we're near enough, we're about 47, we'll go 47.20, just in round figures, a hectare. So, what do we got here? 2200, I'm not sure why I'm doing that, is 0252. So we're a bit over $2,500 a hectare profit, which is a really, really good result. Like, the yield, obviously, yield has helped. It has yielded extremely well. That's the best yield in the 4 or 5 times we've grown it. That's by far the best yield. Probably has come down to, we've learnt a lot in the past when we've grown it, and so it's obviously management. Our agronomists have got, they need to take a big chunk of that as well, because they've done Miranda probably especially, she did a really, really good job. She was here every week looking at it, checking it, that sort of thing. So they did a fantastic job, both her and Pete. But it, $2,500 a hectare. Again, comparison with our winter cropping, it's 6, we'll work on wheat, so say $600 a hectare. If we to strip $500, 5 tonne to the hectare at, $400 for round numbers, it would necessarily not be that high, but it's probably closer to $350, but 400, you're roughly around that. You're around that $1,400 a hectare profit. So it is quite profitable. The limiting factor is probably the water so much. If water gets to, if you double that figure, if water was at $120, or even that's probably still okay. Change that to $1,200. You're still going to be around that $1,900 a hectare. But yeah, when water gets, $150, $200 a megalitre, it really chews into that bottom line, and that's when it probably comes, it becomes uneconomical to grow it. So whether you switch to corn or something else that does use a little bit less water. So I'll try and hopefully we'll get into the corn. It's going to be a bit of a funny one, because we're not going to sell it straight off the header. We're going to have to store it. So probably won't be able to do these figures on it for a while. So but anyway, I just thought, for you guys that have been watching on since the get-go with the corn, with the rice, I just thought you guys are pretty interested, so I'm happy to share that information. We're not doing anything out of the norm there, but if we could, if we were averaging $2,500 a hectare across all our country, we'd be gazillionaires, but yeah, we're not. So it's pretty simple. Anyway, just a quick one. Weather update, still not raining, doesn't look like it's going to rain anytime soon. Sun shining. Pet lamb, we're going to introduce the pet lamb. So this bloke, we've got an orphan here. He's going pretty well. So I think his nickname is Chops. He shouldn't be belly aching because he's just had a bottle. What are you doing, knackers? Hey? So anyway, kids have been on the job with him, feeding him and that. So, but yeah, he's he's out in the pen, so good weather for him at the moment. So anyway, thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.